Okay. All right. And welcome, everybody. I wanted to, first of all, thank you guys for coming. My name is Ben Steinerson, and I'm excited to talk to you about our Tonka Online program tonight and give you a little bit more detail about the program itself, but also have a chance for you, if you have some questions, to ask those questions. I will be recording this. I have a couple of people that were interested in the presentation, and we'll be recording it. So if you don't want to have your camera on, that's fine. And I will be doing a dedicated question and answer session right at the end of the presentation that won't be recorded. So if you have some other questions that you'd like to ask, that can be a part of it as well. But feel free at any time. This is a pretty informal, pretty small group. So if you have some questions as we're going over things, definitely feel free to stop and turn on your microphone or put a chat in the Google chat, and we can address those as we're going along. But again, my name is Ben Steinerson, and I've been working with the Talk Online program for about 7 years. I'm excited to be a part of it. And before that, I was a science teacher in Minnetonka High School and also a technology coach. And I kind of transitioned into working into the Tonka Online program the last few years. And I wanted to also introduce the assistant principal this evening, Mr. Sawyer. And if you want to give yourself a quick introduction.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Justin Sawyer. I'm the associate principal at the high school. I work with Ben in the Tonka Online program, and so I'm excited for us to share with you how that meshes with all of our other programming, and both in a supplemental aspect that we've been doing for many years, and then also in kind of a full comprehensive program that is new to us this year. So between the two of us, we hope that we can answer any of the questions that you guys have. Ben is truly an expert in this field, so I'm going to let him take over with our presentation.
All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot, Justin. I appreciate that. And we'll have a chance to, like I said, kind of do some of those overviews like Justin was talking about, but also if you have some more specific questions, we'll have some time for that as well. So generally speaking, Tonka Online program is part of our high school, and we're really excited this year because we have a couple different avenues for students to participate in our online programming. We've had supplemental online programming for the last several years, where a student would stay enrolled in their own district, whether it be Minnetonka or a different district across the state, and then maybe take 1 or 2 online classes in a term. And then we have this year, and we're expanding again next year, is our full-time online program, where K-12, so students from kindergarten to seniors, could enroll into Tonka Online as their full-time school, and then participate in the online school through Tonka Online. So I'll talk about some of the differences between some of those levels. I know there might be a couple different people that might have some questions, but we'll focus primarily on the high school level for our presentation tonight, because I know that's kind of where a lot of people are coming in. Our program has been around for a long time, and we're really proud of it because it's a little unique in the online world, where we've designed, our teachers have gotten together, they've been using the curriculum and the content that they've been teaching for years, and they put it into an online space, and they are really proud because they put a lot of the effort and the time into making it on their own. And they're the ones that deliver the content as well. And so we do have a wide variety of courses, anywhere from general level courses to AP courses. And we also offer a summer program too. And I'll talk more about that as well. But included in that are actually some pre-AP courses that can help students maybe prepare a little bit before they take AP biology or AP chemistry, or some of those other classes as we're going through. All right, so I did want to highlight just a couple quick things this evening about the program. One I've kind of mentioned already, but we're really excited because we feel it's a really quality online experience for students. It's built by our Minnetonka teachers to Minnetonka core standards and aligned with state standards. And we feel like it really provides a really quality experience in the online space. It's also flexible. It provides students a little bit more flexibility, maybe in their day if they're taking it as a supplemental or at the upper levels where there's more asynchronous, and it gives them a little bit of a chance to maybe take that course and flex their time just a little bit during their week, but still have a lot of support during the week with their teachers to help get their assignments done and their work done in that online space. Also, I did want to mention that we are open to any Minnesota students. So if you are from a different district and you're listening in, we do offer all of our programming to any Minnesota resident. So you don't have to be a resident of Minnetonka. You can participate in those, even in the summer classes. And I'll talk more about that as well. The other thing I wanted to highlight is that we are on the edge of our registration season, right? And so a lot of these webinars are to get some information out about registration alongside with the programming. And we are hoping to get a lot of our registration set up for next year in this window between February 25th and March 7th. And so if you are a current Minnetonka family, you can register through Skyward. And if you are outside the district, or if you are thinking about moving into the district, there's some other registration processes that work through our website. But we like to try to get the self-registration done through Skyward in that window of time. Now, if you're thinking, wait, I'm not sure yet, I need a little bit more information, I need a little bit more time, that is very acceptable, and we can always take enrollments and as we are assigning classes after that time, but we might not be able to do a self-enrollment after March 7th. And so you would just be connecting with the counselor or working with myself to help you get enrolled, working through our website. So those things are possible. And we have some different deadlines that we'll post on our website with relation to those manual enrollments. And there's no fee for any of our online classes if they're part of your standard 6-period or your standard school day in your district. And so if there's any classes taken in addition to that normal schedule, then there is a fee for the class. And summer classes included in that fee-based system. So our fees right now are $375 for a half credit class and $275 for a PE class. And that's the same if you are part of the Minnetonka schools, or if you're from a different place, it's the same fee for those summer courses and any additional classes. And then I do also get a lot of questions around this summer between 8th grade to 9th grade. And it is a great time to think about maybe taking some credits, whether it be a PE or an elective, an art. And so those classes do count towards your high school transcript, and they can be counted towards graduation as you go through it. All right. Any questions about just kind of some program overviews, just really quick bullet points? All right. Like I said, feel free to put a comment in, or if you want to unmute yourself, feel free to do that too at any time. All right. A couple of things that I just wanted to highlight about the program itself is we are really proud about the courses themselves being taught by our teachers and designed that way. We're fully accredited by the Department of Minnesota of Education, and many of our classes are NCAA approved as well. And then we do offer at the high school level. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on the high school right now. So 9-12. The classes are designed to be asynchronous to give students that flexibility. So, maybe they've got a big assignment in English, and so they won't necessarily get to do their Tonka Online math class, but the next day or the next couple of days, they'll catch up and they can pace themselves that way. And sometimes the lessons go faster for some students. and where they can move through that content a little bit more quickly. And sometimes even the same student might need a little bit more time on their next lesson. And so it gives them some flexibility to design their pace of learning. And a lot of students tell me that that's one of the reasons they really like to take a Talk Online class. They have more control over how they're engaging in the lessons and engaging in the course. And they also get a chance to be still guided by the instructor. All right. And that's really another thing that's probably a little different than some of the online asynchronous classes that you might come across is our instructors are really engaged. They're going to give feedback along the way. They're going to provide some pacing and some guidance. And if you're not on pace, they're going to try to reach out to you and they're really going to work with you to figure out, is this something that you need with time management? Do you need a little bit more support with the content? So they're really invested in the learner to help them be successful in this delivery model. All right. So how does this all come together? Well, we're really proud to be able to offer our wide range of classes. We have a lot of enrollments. We're over 2,600 enrollments last year, if we count our summer and our school year. And we also are designing and building new classes as we go. And so we're really proud of our program as it continues to grow. And in light of that, we still have a lot of really positive feedback from the people that are taking it. So it's something that we constantly see as a point of pride for our online program. And we're really excited to be able to share it with a lot of other people this year too. So again, just to kind of reiterate, we are excited to expand into our full-time comprehensive online programming as well. And so if you are interested in that, you can, if you're currently in the district, you can self-enroll into the full-time online. If you're not full-time online now, we'll contact you and connect you with our district office so they'll get you in the right Skyward place so you can do that self-enrollment. But it is open to elementary and middle students. And at that level, it's a more synchronous experience. And so the teachers will start with a Google Meet morning meeting. You'll meet with your math teacher and your other teachers and do a lesson and then maybe work more independently after that. But you have a set schedule that you're following through the day. And that's true of our elementary and our middle school. At the high school, our full-time online classes are built to be more asynchronous. So we have more mature learners at the high school level, and we're also know that they are needing that more of that flexibility. And so for our full-time students, we really strongly encourage them to build their schedules. That might be connecting with their parents or their guardians and figuring out, how is this going to fit into my day? And is this something that I can kind of manage and work through as I'm doing this asynchronously at the high school level? And so those are some of the differences I wanted to point out. The other thing, our supplemental offerings are available to our high school students, so our grades 9 through 12, and they are available either to 9th and 10th graders as a 7th class, so an additional class during the school year, or as a summer class. And as I mentioned before, a lot of those students do take advantage of maybe a summer PE class or an art elective or another half credit class that they're interested in. It helps them free up space in their schedule for their freshman and sophomore and junior years, so they have a little bit more flexibility with their scheduling. 11th and 12th grade students often have an open hour, so they might take a Tonka Online biology or world history or an AP class, and it helps them schedule more flexibly with the other programming that they might be involved with, whether it be maybe IB or Vantage or science research. It gives them a little bit more flexibility in the day, so the days that they're really focused in those topics, they can do that, and then they can catch up in their online classes or work ahead in their online classes throughout the term and throughout the semester. Summer classes are also available, and 7th classes are also available for these students too. All right, so a couple of things, and I know I've been talking for a while, but I just wanted to hit a couple of the big points and see if you guys have any questions. But I do believe that this statement is a pretty solid representation of where we're at with our online programming. is that we're really working to provide an online learning experience for students in an environment that they're familiar with. So we've built our courses through Schoology. If you're in the Minnetonka district already, they've been using Schoology and working through that. For our younger grades, we use Seesaw, and so we have two platforms that are very focused on the learner, I would say, and they're also really focused on communication and feedback. And I think that's is what helps provide this quality programming in our online space is the amount of feedback that our teachers can deliver, whether it be synchronous or whether it be asynchronous for those learners. All right, I'm going to pause just for a second. I don't know if Justin has any other thoughts or if you guys have any questions, but please feel free to let me know if there's something else that this sparked in your mind.
I think the one piece that I would add to the slide before this was about 11th and 12th graders having an open hour, and they can often squeeze in a Tonka online class so they can work on it while they are at school, or they can work on that from at home if that open hour is first hour or sixth hour. And so it just really frees up their day. And like Ben said, if they're behind in one thing, they can spend more time on that and then vice versa the next day. So really a lot of flexibility that goes along with that for our older students.
Yeah, for sure. And I would also just reiterate that online, at least at our high school, has always been a discussion for the couple years. You know, like how is taking this online class right now going to maybe help me customize my 4-year plan down the road? And so it really helps kind of provide some more of that flexibility with the scheduling too. Yeah. Thanks, Justin. Yeah. Awesome. So I wanted to just highlight a few things. And a lot of things that we look to is some feedback, not from just the teachers that are teaching the class, but also the students. And we do a lot of surveys and try to figure out, are we hitting the mark? Are we finding that space where students want to be in their online world? And for a lot of students, they really enjoy the online classes through Tonka Online. And as you can see in these quotes, a lot of it is due to the flexibility, but also they know that their teachers are there to help support their learning. And creating that effective class environment by giving feedback and communication, we find that that's been a cornerstone of our online programming. And we're always excited to get those surveys back because one of the questions I always ask is, what compliment could you give to your teacher? And there's always some really, really cool and insightful things that students appreciate by taking the online class. And sometimes they feel almost as connected as if they would be in person to their teacher because they're getting so much feedback, and sometimes even a little bit more. In an English or a social studies class, when they're commenting on papers, the teachers really take the time to give them that personal feedback to help them improve. And so it really becomes a community of learners as we go through. All right. Well, I wanted to highlight just a couple of things as we're talking about the class. We talked about graduation credits and some of those things. I just wanted to reiterate that the classes are built in Schoology, so they're built within an environment that a lot of our students and teachers are used to. We try really hard to have multiple modes in our online classes where it's not always just video instruction or it's not always just reading or a reading assignment, but we try to blend those modes in a given lesson. And we try to have a lot of those clear pacing and guidelines built into the course. And so students know where they need to be. And we also work for some consistent organization in our courses. So all of our online classes start with a welcome folder, for example, where students go, they get a little information about their instructor, they do some intro activities with their classmates, and then they kind of move into their lessons and progress through their folders. So even though it's asynchronous, we try to design within Schoology with a classroom feel in mind, and kind of go from there. All right. Another thing that I did want to reiterate and really kind of talk through, because you're probably trying to decide, is this going to be right for child? Is this going to be right for our family? Where is this kind of fitting into the whole design? And one of the things to consider is the time commitment. I like to think that when you're taking a half credit class, that you really do need to budget about that 5 to 7 hours of time. So similarly, if you were going to be in person, you would be meeting with that class probably 5 days a week for about 50 minutes, and then a little bit of homework on the side. Now, this is a very if everybody followed this, they would be very successful in their online classes with the pacing. Some students don't need this much time, and so they may ebb and flow. There might be some weeks that it's more time, there might be some weeks that it's less time. But my real point that I always try to make with parents and I also make with students is routine engagement. So even though it's an asynchronous class, you want to build it into your schedule. And those students that do that successfully are the ones that really hit this out of the park and they feel confident about their online learning and things like that. All right. Another thing that I've been working with students is kind of collecting a few online tips. What are some lessons learned as they've gone through? And a few things, like I mentioned before, is as simple as making a schedule where you're just planning to engage routinely, but also knowing that your teachers are there to support your learning and really reach out and connect to them if you're stuck or if you're having some trouble. Making those routine submissions and also staying on pace in the class, but doing that in a way that fits in your schedule. So using the course due dates and deadlines as those benchmarks can be really helpful for students. And this is really, it seems obvious to just reach out and ask for a question, but sometimes in an online space, students don't know if that's okay, right? They maybe haven't seen their teacher face to face, but they need to know that that is something that they can definitely do, and their teachers would really appreciate that type of communication. And then lastly, this comes back a lot, is students tell me things they do to help them be successful. And it really boils down to being an active learner, like taking notes while you're watching a video. So it doesn't just turn into, zoning out when you're watching YouTube or a Netflix video. But also sending your instructor questions and engage with the other people in discussion boards. Anything you can do to be an active participant, it really enhances the experience of the class. So I just wanted to share some of those as you might be thinking about, is this right for me or is this right for my child? These are some things that students have shared along the way to really help kind of guide some of that thinking, I hope. All right. And a few other things that I wanted to just mention is we do offer a lot of our summer classes, and something that always comes up is, well, what if I'm taking a summer vacation? Can I still take an online PE class or an art class or something like that? And the answer is yes. You want to think about, your time. Is it going to be possible during your vacation to maybe check in with the class once in a while? Are you going on a 6 week vacation in the middle of the desert where there's no Wi-Fi in a 10-week summer class? That's going to be kind of hard to do. And so I always just coach people, use common sense. Our teachers are really willing to work around, shorter vacations, working ahead or catching up when you get back. It all works really well, but we do have just 10 weeks in the summer. And so when we're talking about summer, think about in a half credit class that's usually 18 weeks long, we're condensing it down into 10 summer weeks. And so we want to make sure that there's enough time to get to all the things that we need to for the standards to earn that credit. So a long summer vacation, you don't want to condense that even a lot farther, but 1 or 2 weeks would be very manageable. All right. And then I just wanted to reiterate, especially at the high school level when we're more asynchronous, being good at arranging your schedule and your timelines. The courses will have due dates and deadlines, and there's a lot of teacher support along those ways. And there are hard start and stop dates. So for the summer, our start date is June 20th. and then it runs 10 weeks to August 26th. And I'll put up a slide with these numbers at the end. But those 10 weeks, we truly try to work within that guideline. And then we start and work with the semester timeframes during the school year. So the first day of school, and then the semester breaks on our school calendar. So we work with all those. All right. Few other quick bullet points, and then I'm going to open some things up to question and answer. PE is a very popular online class for us in the summer, especially. And so I just wanted to highlight a couple of those things and see if there's any questions you might have around PE. We do have an A-level course. We have 2 A-level courses, the fitness and the yoga, and that meets the A standards from the state. And then we have a wellness B, and that meets the B level standards from the state for PE. So both of those, or all 3 of those, are physical education classes. And in order to graduate, you need a 1.0 credit. So you could take both of those as online classes and meet your graduation requirement at Minnetonka. In all the classes, they're all divided into a couple of different parts. And so sometimes when people hear online PE, they first ask, wait a second, how is that possible? And then when they're done with that shock and awe, then they think about, well, what do we actually have to do? And so I like to highlight a few of these things, but each of the courses is divided into about 2 parts. There's a knowledge part, and then there are fitness parts. In the knowledge part, you're going to be doing some readings, maybe some journaling assignments, taking a couple Schoology quizzes, but it's focused on those standards from the state and meeting those standards in the course. And those take about 45 minutes to maybe an hour a week. Okay. And then there are weekly fitness assignments as well. And so PE is probably the one class that's within a week, you want to get your work done each of those weeks. And then they're going to ask you to progress through to the next week. So in that week, you'll want to do 30 minutes of activity 4 times a week. So you have 4 different activities during that week. And at the end of the activity, there's a chance for you to do a video reflection. So the students aren't making videos while they're running or swimming or horseback riding or whatever they're doing. But afterwards, they're talking through, how does that activity fit with the goals that I've set for myself that week? How does it fit in with some of the things I'm learning about in the course that week? And what are the things I'm going to do next? So they make 4 of those reflections and go through the course every week. One of the reflections is involving some sort of fitness tracker. Now, it doesn't have to be a step tracker. It could just be, a readout on a fitness machine while you're taking a picture of it. It could be a wide variety of things, free apps that are on phones and things of that nature. I've had a couple kids try to convince their parents that if they're doing online PE, they need an Apple Watch. I want to tell you right now, I'm sorry, they don't need an Apple Watch. I know it's an easy excuse sometimes, but that's not true. And they don't even really need a Garmin or a Fitbit or anything like that. They just need some way to track their data for one of those 4 workouts in a week. And there's a lot of options that the PE teachers have available, and they can really coach you through that if you have some more questions. All right. Any questions about PE? I know I said a lot, but there's a lot of questions a lot of times with PE. Okay. All right. And then I want to highlight our other big summer class, which is summer math. And I want to just talk through this a little bit with you. We have a few small changes with the registration part for math this summer. So we offer a few different half-credit classes in geometry, higher algebra, honors, higher algebra, pre-calc, and things like that. In the summer, if it's going to be taken as an acceleration in their math sequence, we're going to have them work through their advanced learning coordinator in their school first. And so they'll start the process. So these won't be necessarily self-registration courses, but they aren't, but they're definitely available. The advanced learning team would is going to provide some more information about the classes and look at a lot of details and data to help make that a really good decision, and provide parents with that information so they can make that decision. And so those types of things are available. But if you're looking to do it as an acceleration in your math sequence, then it won't be open for self-registration. We would just work through the advanced learning coordinators for this summer. All right. Last thing, I'm going to wrap up real quick, and then I'll turn off the recording and see if there's any other questions. Last highlights is our registration opens on the 25th of February in Skyward. The self-registration deadline is March 7th, but like I said before, if you need some more time than that to make your decision, we can always work through counselors and myself to get you enrolled before the final deadlines. And then students from other districts would enroll through our website and register for both school and summer classes in there. And lastly, it's not a race. We build courses based on enrollments. And so we will try to honor all those requests the best that we can as we go through. All right, I'm going to leave you with this final slide that just kind of maps out the different key dates that are coming up around registration. Our February 25th to March 7th self-registration window, and then the start of the summer class, that 10-week summer class on June 20th to August 26th, and then the start of our fall term, which is September 6th. All right. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate your time this evening. I'm going to turn off the recording in a second. Remember, a lot of our information is on our website, where you can find more details and FAQs and many types of questions on our website. And if you'd like to contact either myself or Justin, here is our contact information, either email or phone number if you need. Thank you again. I'm going to turn off the recording, and I'm going to stay on to see if there's any questions that people have after our presentation. But thank you very much, and we will stop our recording.